All right, all right, all right. This is the David Washignton Show. I am your host, David Washignton, and with me today, I am very honored because Chuck was the very first person who reached out to me and said that he wanted to be a part of the David Washignton Show. So, without further ado, I want to introduce Chuck Tyler.
Hey, how's it going, David?
I am doing good. How about yourself?
I'm doing well as well. Thanks so much for asking.
You bet. And you are the political director of Millennium Ventures LLC.
Correct.
And you're also involved with Veterans IP or Veterans Intellectual Property.
Intellectual property. Yep,
Yes,
absolutely.
yes.
I,
And, you know, let, let's hear a little bit about you because I've already talked enough. I'm excited that you're here.
absolutely. So, when I got out of the army, part of the reason why I got out of the army was because I was getting shot at entirely too much. And I thought that if we elected smarter people to public office,
Okay.
then maybe we would have an opportunity to shoot less and talk more
Okay.
as our foreign policy. So I volunteered for a campaign down in Mississippi. It was Ronnie Musgrove's reelection campaign. He was running again for governor, and we lost miserably. But I learned a lot, made enough connections to get my first paid gig in politics, and that was Stephanie Hearst's first uh, congressional run. And wow, from there, I just got hooked. I mean, being a part of something bigger than myself reminded me of being in the army and just having the opportunity to build capacity for campaigns, to grow leadership that's local to the issues that we were addressing. And heck, the wins, man, they're always good.
Always good. Always good. Thank you for your service.
Yeah, of
You know,
course.
I have to let you know that. And tell us, you were in the army, correct?
Yes,
Okay, and
yes.
you served during.
So I got in about a year after high school, said I was 87, and went to Germany. I was in the infantry, and so was assigned to Germany. I was only going to be there for 2 years, man. I was only going to be in for 2 years, get the college money, and then get out, right?
Oh, yes.
But they sent the 19-year-old to Germany, and I absolutely loved it. Loved it so much that I re-enlisted for
All
four
right.
more years.
Okay.
And then we all know what happened in 1990 when Saddam rolled over the border into Kuwait, claiming Kuwait is his territory. And that's when the army got real for me because we
Hmm.
got deployed over there. It was my first combat deployment. And wow, yeah, I learned a lot. Learned a lot about not only myself but people,
Right.
how to manage people at their level, from their perspective, finding um, the motivators for why people do what they do. And that translated very, very well into volunteer management in the political arena. So, yeah,
Exactly. Exactly.
yeah,
Wow. Again, thank you for your service. And
of course.
we are from the same generation. When you said 87, I graduated
Right?
high school in 87. So our listeners and viewers, they're going to learn there's a lot of things that are familiar, not familiar, but similar to the two
Exactly.
of us. Um,
Exactly.
but tell me about Veterans IP or Veterans Intellectual Property.
Veterans intellectual property was really just a blessing for me because at the time I had just transitioned out of campaign and was casting around on the web. You remember how web heavy everybody was during COVID.
Yes.
So met an Air Force veteran who had created an organization, Veterans Intellectual Property, to help other veterans because he was not only a veteran himself, but he was an inventor. And then he went to law school to get his JD.
Okay.
Created VIP in order to help other veterans navigate that treacherous landscape known as the USPTO, the United States Patent and Trademark Office.
Okay.
But because he incorporated in California, you cannot be both a service provider for your nonprofit and lead the nonprofit. So he put out some feelers on finding some leadership for the organization. I responded, and after a few interviews, was fortunate enough to lead the organization. Which, on the operational side, we raise money to help offset USPTO fees, which can sometimes run as much as $10,000 when you're filing for a patent. And then I help expand the network of pro bono attorneys who are contributing their free time and talent to help veterans get their patent, trademark, or copyright paperwork squared away to get filed.
Okay. Wow. Wow. My business partner, as we were saying offline prior to recording, is an Army veteran, and
Okay.
he's working with AI generative. I think I said it right.
Yes.
Or,
Yeah. Yeah.
so are you seeing a lot of veterans come with AI tools or AI creatives and is seeking help to patent their work?
Absolutely. Right now, I'm not seeing a lot of the AI heavy stuff yet
Okay.
because we've just kind of reconstituted ourselves and are getting into spaces where we're actually talking to inventors. But AI is tricky. We are tracking a National Science Foundation grant. People
Oh,
are able to generate a novel use for AI, then there's $295,000 out there for them to develop that idea from the National Science Foundation. So that's it's
wow.
one of the grants that we're tracking, and ready and willing to speak to any veteran, military dependent, or active duty member who has an idea and wants to develop it. We've got resources that will help you develop it, and as well as our network of pro bono attorneys.
Oh, wow. That sounds incredibly interesting. And this is available to all veterans.
Yes.
Mhm. Okay. How has there been a lot of interest in that particular program? Or go ahead.
For VIP.
Yes.
Oh yeah, we have been blessed. Every room that we show up in, we generate interest, because a understand that this country was built from innovation,
Mhm.
from
Yes.
inventions, and that is such a strong economic driver, particularly for the United States. We had thousands of patents and inventions that drove innovation for this country. The Industrial Revolution is a great example. And then when you think specifically about veterans, you're talking Phil Knight of Nike.
Yes.
You're talking, and his name escapes me at the moment, the founder of FedEx, who's a Marine. So please, I forget the names of Marines.
Right.
Sorry, but you've got veterans like that who have led the way, who've driven innovation in our country, and contributed to the economic might that is the United States. So yeah.
So Chuck, the intersection of politics and veterans. Now, here in Florida, and for our listeners and viewers, Chuck and I are here in Florida, and we're closer than I thought. Chuck is outside of Orlando, and of course, I'm here in Orlando. And I'm like, wow. And we were just talking about some of the things that Chuck has done in the past here in Orlando. And I was like, our paths have crossed. They had to have crossed in the past. But
Right.
Florida being having such a large demographic,
Right.
veteran demographic,
Yes.
um, and I know some of our research and voter outreach, we specifically target veterans. Now, again, and I'm getting so excited. Veterans in politics. Are you seeing veterans play even more of a role, not just as candidates, but as a voting bloc here in Florida?
Here in Florida, uh, man, I'm gonna disappoint you, David,
Uh-oh.
because the in Florida, particularly, I can speak to the sixth congressional district where
Hmm.
Michael Waltz, a
Yes.
former special forces
Yes.
officer, is currently in Congress, and a lot of the veterans are perceived as conservative, are perceived as having strong stance on um, key tenets of the Republican Party, the um, strong stance on the Second Amendment, um,
Yes.
strong pro-life, and a smaller, less intrusive government. Um, those are the three strengths that veterans apply when they are expressing themselves as supporting the Republican Party. However, there is a good contingent of progressive
Okay.
veterans who I find myself aligned with and operate with. I recently completed the Veterans Organizing Institute trainer class, so they are an organization that is committed to organizing progressive veterans. Also, Minority Veterans of America, led by Lindsay Church, is a great organization. They're very active politically, and they get out there and they are on the ground issues, um, not just minority veterans as far as color, but LGBTQ, other disabled veterans are represented by that organization, and they are really at the front of those fights.
Wow. I know that we've created a leadership academy where we hope to have interested individuals with some great ideas who want to run for office representing their communities. And we find that a lot of times folks just don't know where to start,
Yep,
or they,
exactly.
they assume that because they have, X number of Facebook, friends, that they're electable. And I know that addressing this particular issue of candidate preparedness does make a difference.
Yes.
And you mentioned going through the Veterans Organizing Institute. I'm sure it was focused on the veteran and
Hmm.
curating candidates from that particular organization.
Correct.
Mhm.
That particular constituency is being served by VOI, but I have also been a trainer for the National Democratic Training Committee, which is just Kelly Dietrich has really, really elevated that organization to address every aspect of running for office. He has 4 tracks that we train for. We'll train the campaign staff. We'll train the candidate. We'll train the party clubs and organizations on the ground and volunteers.
Mhm.
So with his training, specifically addressing fundraising, digital organizing, how to conduct field operations, and he just so comprehensive, really, really great. I know that we've thrown a couple of trainings for organizations like I want to say not is it Emerge? Yes,
Yes.
Emerge. We did one for Emerge Louisiana that I was involved in a few years back. They're still expanding and growing who they reach out and and train. So yeah, there are options out there for people other than the veteran constituency group that will help out. I know Contest Every Race. Um, they
Yeah.
are adamant. Yeah, they're adamant about making sure that within a community, if there is just one person running for that office, let's get somebody else to contest that race, because
I agree.
that's true democracy right there.
I agree with you. Every election, every seat should be contested, whether it's Democrat or Republican. Every seat should be contested so that we
Exactly.
continue that dialogue and that we challenge ourselves to be a better society.
Exactly.
We are I know here at J&W, we're going to have to, pick your brain some more, have conversations, dinners, lunches, whatever, because you are a
Absolutely.
wealth of information and experience. And again, I am so happy that you're with us.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much, David.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Chuck. Chuck, right now, and we touched upon this, what are your professional goals or objectives or significant projects that you are working on that you like to discuss? I know in the notes that you provided, you talked about political strategy development, coalition building, and campaign management. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things that I think I've really been blessed with is the opportunity to have um, a breadth of experience.
Yes.
I've, you know, I've knocked doors, I've run phone banks, I've made those phone calls myself, and then getting up into the upper echelon of leadership, how to manage people within those spaces, has been just very gratifying and very yeah, just satisfying for me. Both coming out of the military and wanting to make a difference and be a part of something bigger than myself. So uh, most recently, my wife, she's a graphic designer. She
Okay.
helps out a lot. She does campaign graphics, social media, and a lot of times she'll travel with me when we do on the ground operations. Like we were in Pennsylvania knocking doors for Josh Shapiro and
Okay.
John Fetterman.
Yes.
And then last December, we were in Georgia knocking doors to make sure that Reverend Warnock remained in the Senate. So we're out there, we're on the ground. I am never too big or never too proud to knock a door. I
I love
absolutely
that. I love that. I love it.
love leading by example, and I love
Yes.
having those conversations at the door. I think we need to have more of those conversations at the door, and
Agreed.
it's really refreshing and really a testament to the American political system when we can do those things.
I agree with you, Chuck. We need to meet our neighbors, our friends, our family where they're at, and
Exactly.
at their front door. And I truly believe, leading by example, I will knock on doors. I enjoy knocking on doors. I enjoy being out in this Florida heat, in this Florida sun.
Whew, I
You
tell
know,
you, right? Look, it's not as bad as when we were knocking doors in New Mexico. I had
Woo!
the privilege of leading a veteran initiative in New Mexico. Wow, this is 0910. Yep, this is 2010.
Okay.
And it was hitting 130 degrees during the day, and we were out knocking doors. But it was a dry heat, right? It was a
Okay,
dry
so
heat.
okay, it's a dry. Yeah. There is a difference. Oh yes, Florida heat. You,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. That humidity gets on your back, and you just wanna just kind of melt, man.
I know.
Whew.
Tell me your experience as far as campaign management. A little bit more about that.
Wow. Um, get in and get out of people's way. Um, I think Marshall Gantz has the best definition of leadership I like, and it fits me. Here's what I do as a leader. I have power. I utilize that power to remove as many obstacles
Mhm.
from your path so that you can succeed.
Indeed.
That's it. That's what a leader should do, right? I
Agree.
don't need to pontificate or to let everybody know, all my bona fides, because I'm already a leader and I should be helping others become leader material as well.
Mhm.
So had a really fun time in Pennsylvania working with an organization called the Outreach Team,
Okay.
led by Jesse Lehman. I believe he's now running for office in New York State.
Okay.
But great organization. They pull from around the country and parachute in for GOTV work to make sure that people are getting out to vote for the candidates, right?
Okay.
So we were there for John Fetterman and Josh Shapiro, who eventually went on to win.
Yeah.
And I had a chance to work with. Wow, we had maybe 25 to 30 paid canvassers, and I
Mhm.
was able to, within the time I was there, raise up leaders. You've got people who
Yes.
are consistent on the doors, who are making their mark, who are there on time, who are dressed appropriately, who understand the script, how to personalize the script. They're those little things that let you know that somebody's a go-getter and they should be training new canvassers, right? Or
Yes.
they should be canvas leaders out in the field, especially if they have a vehicle and they're able to pull away from their route and go handle a situation, at another door or with another canvasser. So
Great.
that was just, that was a gratifying experience to make sure that the people who worked with me were able to gain some type of leadership ability so that if they choose, they don't have to necessarily apply for another canvasser position. Maybe they could get a field organizer position, right,
There you
with
go.
another campaign.
Yes.
So, it's just a bad army habit. We were always taught that if I have an E3 on my collar, then I should be thinking like an E4. If I have an E4 on my collar, I should be thinking like a sergeant. If I have a sergeant stripe on my shoulder, I should be thinking like a staff sergeant.
Okay.
So always, 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 be utilizing that law of attraction, saying, yeah, if I was a sergeant, how would I handle this? And lo and behold, you'll have those stripes on your collar and you'll be able to handle it as a sergeant.
Wow, that is a good philosophy and a good practice. And
Absolutely.
you really don't see that in many campaigns.
This is
Again,
true.
a lot of folks, they think they're electable. Okay, anyone can be elected.
Yes.
Are you the
Um,
one to be elected?
exactly. As
And
far as anybody can be elected, I don't have to go to recent presidential campaigns. I'm going to go to a very specific race in Montana. If you
Mhm.
remember Greg Gianforte, who body slammed a
Yes,
Guardian reporter and
yes,
still got elected to office.
uh-huh.
I mean, hey,
Right. That's right. It's there's no doubt that the political role has its unexpected moments, and
right?
you can't believe this actually happened moments. Yes,
Yeah.
it's unbelievable, and you know, outside of the violence, the unexpectedness of political campaigns and consulting is why I return to it after so many years, and of course the winning does help.
Always, always. Um, even okay, so that very first campaign that I volunteered for, Ronnie Musgrove's campaign in Mississippi, we were running against Haley Barber. And I know you remember Haley Barber,
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
former RNC chair, wanted to
Yes,
come home and run his home state.
that's correct.
So over that GOTV weekend, $5 million, 2,000 volunteers. We were like, wow, Yeah, we were wiped off. It was, and then here's a funny afternote. The volunteers for that campaign stayed in the same hotel where he held his victory party. Open bar.
Yeah. Oh, it's
So
over.
we were able to, appropriate a couple of Haley Barber stickers
Yes.
and then just drown our sorrows on his dime.
You gotta love it. You can't make
Hey,
this stuff up.
I know you cannot.
You got to love it's those moments. It's those moments like that that you look back on and you have a great story to tell.
Exactly. Exactly.
Wow. Oh yeah. Yeah, I like those moments.
They are bitter but sweet.
Exactly. Chuck, what have been like your greatest struggle in this political space?
I think my greatest struggle in this political space has been helping people to recognize their own power.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it goes beyond the whole "my vote doesn't count." It's a little deeper than that. It speaks to a sense of powerlessness, and I go back to Marshall Gantz's teaching on how to overcome what he terms demotivators.
Ah,
Um,
okay.
you absolutely overcome apathy with anger. You overcome fear with hope. And
Mhm.
for that particular demotivator motivator pairing, we saw that come to life in 2008, didn't we?
Yes, we
We
did.
saw someone with a message of hope overcome the fear that was just being pounded over and over and over again since 9/11. Um, a particular administration rode 9/11 for 2 terms,
Yes, sir.
but then we had a message of hope that came to overcome that demotivator of fear. So that's what we have to do. I can't come to you, David, as a political operative and tell you how to be motivated or how to vote or how to organize your community. I have to come in and I have to listen.
Thank you.
And then we arrive at a shared solution, right?
That's correct.
Um, I am constantly talking to people about the success that the California Native Vote program had. It's been about 10 years now, where they saw an 800% increase in voting across their constituents because they started an integrated voter engagement strategy. They
Okay.
didn't just drop in a few months before an election and say, "Hey, who are you gonna vote for?" and start
Right.
IDing and persuading and then getting out the vote. They
Exactly.
had a 6-step operation that started with the voter registration. Once you register them, you educate them. Once they're educated, you expose them to the candidates. You
Yes.
expose them to the issues.
Yep.
And then you get them out to the polls and you protect their vote.
That's right.
You make sure that they know if they're in there and they get challenged arbitrarily, they have opportunities and options available to them, above and beyond a provisional ballot to get their voice heard. And a year-round operation like that lets people know that you're serious about hearing my voice, right?
Exactly.
So that's why they were able to enjoy an 800% increase in voter turnout.
They put in the work, they put in the
Yep.
investment in the community. And like you said, they were serious about it. They started early, were involved early, and now they reap the 800% benefit.
Exactly. Exactly. It's the law of the harvest, right?
Yes. Yes.
Exactly.
You're right. I love it. I mean, it's great to hear like-minded individuals
Yes.
talk
Yes.
seriously and intellectually about campaigns and about campaign management and politics.
It is.
Because, and I keep going back to this, people think they can just show up,
Nope.
and you have to put in the work, and you
You
put in
do.
the work early. I know you talked about a comprehensive strategic plan or planning
Hmm.
in campaign management and how important that is. If you could speak a little bit about that, that would be great.
Sure. We've got a spreadsheet. It goes 12 months out from campaign, and we use the hell out of that spreadsheet
Yes.
because it has key dates, it has key
Oh
metrics
my-
that we need to measure to make sure that the campaign is on track.
Yes.
Um, you know the tenet, right? If it ain't written down,
Doesn't exist.
exactly. So we've got a spreadsheet. We follow that spreadsheet just adamantly because we want to make sure that we are bringing value to a candidate, we're bringing value to a campaign, and we're bringing value to that community,
Thank you.
right?
Exactly. Oh my God. And so I'm not the only one who's like using like a Microsoft Project to
Oh
plan.
no. Oh no. And then, with the introduction of AI tools
Yes.
that will automate a lot of those processes and help yeah, just let me know if you want me to share um a resource with you later. The Social Movement Technologies group
Okay.
has a they have a recording of a webinar that they did, AI for organizing and activism. So yeah, let
Oh,
me let me find that link. I'll send it to you offline, and let me know your thoughts because
I
if
appreciate that.
there are tools that can help us win,
Oh,
right?
no doubt. We call ourselves the political innovators
Okay.
because we've used tools that most people have not heard of in political campaigns. And you just mentioned using the spreadsheet. I use Microsoft Project
Microsoft projects. Okay.
to manage our campaigns, and I let my clients know, you know, we should be here. This is who's responsible. These are the resources, and this is our timeline. It
I'm
gets a
writing
little
that
bit.
down right now
Oh, it
because if we could elevate that spreadsheet to something much more amenable to the speed of campaigns, then yeah.
My, like you said, yours is planned out 12 months in advance of
Mhm.
election. Mine is planned out 18 months in advance of election. And
There it
so
is.
it's so refreshing, Chuck, to hear someone who talks seriously, however, has done the work to back up the talk.
I look, David. I gotta interject here for a moment. That's really important. I have a family friend who ran for local office, Dolores Guzman, and my wife was on that campaign
Okay.
as the digital director, and they brought on a consultant,
Okay.
and I'm only speaking about this particular consultant, not all consultants,
Sure.
but the slick talk and the non-production and
Mm,
the sudden disappearance when that final paycheck came in with
yes.
no noticeable metrics being changed because you had brought that person on board. that's that's why it's so good to hear you say that.
Yeah.
You've got to be able to show me the work.
Exactly. Accountability.
Yeah,
I am shocked. We're not here to carry someone's briefcase or purse. No, we're here as professionals to
exactly,
manage a campaign. And
exactly,
again, I want to show you the data. I want to show you the strategy. I want to show you the metrics and the amount of money that people are spending and the return on that investment.
exactly.
And I've used a tenth of the money that a candidate's opponent has used to
Right?
defeat them.
$5 per voter versus 50 cents a voter.
Exactly. There's a better mousetrap. There's a better
There
strategy,
is.
and it's just amazes me that the same the same approach and getting the same results have not driven people to explore better options that are out there.
And David, that sentiment is so appropriate for the state we find ourselves in right now.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Oh, we can talk on and on.
Right?
This Chuck. Oh, Chuck. And seeing that uh, our proximity to one another, we're going to be talking, having lunch, and all that stuff.
Oh, we are. We
Oh,
definitely are. We definitely are, sir.
wow. Chuck, I know you have a quote from Winston Churchill that I'd like for you to share, and any other words of wisdom.
And there's a specific reason why I love this quote. Success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It's the courage to continue that counts.
Mm-hmm.
So we win in campaigns, we lose in campaigns. Okay, but that was the last campaign.
Yes.
What did you learn from it? How do you keep going regardless of which way that campaign went, right?
Correct.
In the Army, we have something called the Center for Army Lessons Learned. After everything you do in the military, you have what's called an after action review.
Okay.
And I bring that into every campaign I've worked. Pluses and minuses. Some people call them roses and thorns. I like pluses and deltas because it's not that I want to talk about what went wrong. I want to talk about how could we delta or change things so that that wrong thing won't happen again.
Exactly.
So pluses and deltas is something very important to me, regardless of a win or a loss, because I want to reward people for their individual contributions that they made to the campaign as well.
I agree. I agree. We do like not necessarily aftercare, and I forgot what it is that we call it. But after the campaign is over, and
Mm-hmm.
we make sure that if our candidate wins, we make sure that there's a transition, that we help with the transition
Good.
and
Okay.
advise them on their office that they just won. And if they did not win, we do that, post mortem, and we
Yeah,
talk about
absolutely.
how we can improve, not just if in case that particular client wants to run again, but also
Mm-hmm.
our own practices and what the community was saying to us in their vote, what they were saying to us in our field operations, so forth and so
Yes,
forth.
yes, yes. That's
Mhm.
awesome.
Oh yeah,
That's
I
awesome.
I love what I do, and it's
It
enjoyable.
shows, David. It shows.
Thank you.
Bringing that enthusiasm into the rooms and among the people that you're working with. It's very infectious. It's very effective. So yeah, keep doing
Thank
what
you.
you do, brother. It's
Thank you.
it's good to see.
And you also, I am inspired, and
Thank you.
I'm going to take a quick moment to thank Neil Carter, and I'll thank him again.
Yes, yes, Neil, the fearless leader of the Black Consultants Group. Yes,
Indeed.
he is doing the yeoman's work there, and we
Wow.
really appreciate it.
Yes, to create this 3 years ago, I believe the Black Consultants Group just celebrated an anniversary,
Yep.
3 years, and to bring us all together and to have this opportunity to interview you and the other Black consultants who agreed to do this with me has been a blessing, and I've learned
Outstanding.
so much. And I appreciate Neil. I appreciate you. Thank you so
Thank you.
much. Chuck, how can our viewers and listeners find you on the interwebs?
Oh wow, yeah. Because now we've got interwebs and threads now, don't we?
Yes, yes, we
All
do.
kinds of things going on.
I,
Yeah.
I just started my account with Threads today. I hit the damn button.
I hear you. I hear you. And it's going to be interesting to see where this goes now with
Yes.
100. What did he just celebrate? 100 million users?
I last heard it was 30, so but that was last week, so I'm sure
Yeah,
it's on its way.
exactly. I
I'm
I
sure.
think I caught a statistic last night. I gotta learn to put the phone down earlier so I can get some good sleep.
I think that's an issue with all of us.
I hear you. Hey, start with veteransip.org. You'll
Okay.
find me there, and from there you'll be able to pick up what I do on Twitter. I'm on LinkedIn. So yeah, start with veteransip.org. It's the easiest way
Okay.
to just connect with me on the social webs.
Excellent, excellent. We'll make sure to have your contact information in the notes, and also we'll post it on the screen for all of our
Great,
viewers to
great.
access your information and get to know you more. Closing
David, this has
comment.
been fun, man. This has been fun.
I
You called it earlier in our talk. Connected with someone who's like-minded and not just man, I can't believe this and this, but having an intellectual discourse
Yeah.
on how people campaign, how people interact, how people run for office was refreshing. Thank you so much, brother.
You are most welcome. You are most welcome. Thank you. This has been enlightening for me, and for the other interviews, like I'll do with this one, after we say our goodbyes and wrap up. I'm gonna call my mom and say, "Mom, wait until you see Chuck." What an interview!
You are awesome.
My mom is a big political and
Oh, good.
yeah, oh yeah,
That's awesome. That's
and
awesome.
she is a, big fan of the podcast, and she's always giving me pointers. But she loves politics.
That's great. That's great to have that support.
She and her mother, my grandmother, were my part of my political inspiration. So
Good.
she's going to be excited to see your interview.
I appreciate it, brother. Thank you so much, David, for everything you do.
You are there
Appreciate
any
you.
closing comments that you'd like to make?
Folks, I if you're watching this, I really appreciate you spending a few minutes with David and I. Just understand that you have a voice, regardless of how small, how still. Think back to scripture. Those small, still voices are the ones that are oftentimes most powerful. So make sure you engage yours.
Excellent. And I'm going to take a little artistic license from the notes that you provided. And this is from Chuck. And these are three takeaways that he would like for you all to have. And it's the power of resilience. Life will inevitably present us with challenges, both personally and professionally. It's our ability to bounce back, keep moving forward that defines us. Remember, it's not about how many times we fall, but how many times we get back up.
Yes.
The value of service, you are a clear example of that.
Thank
Whether
you.
it's serving in the military or working in public sector, service to others is one of the most rewarding experiences.
It
It's
is.
not just about what we can achieve individually, but how we can contribute to the greater good. I I can agree with you to the ends of the earth with that.
Thank
And
you.
then finally, the impact of grassroots movements. And Chuck has explained and showed you the path to a great campaign. And yes, I agree. It begins at the grassroots level.
Always.
And in Chuck's experience, political consulting has shown him the power of grassroots movements. When individuals come together at the local level to voice their concerns and advocate for change, it can lead to significant societal progress.
It
Never
absolutely can.
underestimate the power of your voice or the change that you can instigate in your community.
Exactly.
Chuck Tyler, I want to thank you again.
David,
So
thank
many
you.
thank yous. Chuck Tyler of Millennium Ventures and Veterans Intellectual Property. I appreciate you.
Thank you so much, David, for having me.
You're
This was
welcome.
fun.
This is the David Washignton Show. That was Chuck Tyler. I'm David Washignton, of course. Please, if you enjoyed what you heard, I'm sure you did, like, share, hit the notification button. But please, more importantly, please comment, reach out to us. Let's start a conversation in our community. Thank you so much.